Hello and welcome or welcome back. My name is Reb and today we're going to be looking at my art challenge sketchbook. So this sketchbook here I use pretty much exclusively for art challenges, drawing sessions, lives, things like that. A couple of stickers on the outside here. This is Art Hang Party. This is by Melissa Martin. If you don't know what Art Hang Party is, check the links in my description below to find out more information on this very, very fun drawing session. This one is also by Melissa Martin. This is a little sticker of Simon. Rest in peace, Simon. We miss you. And then this one is from Hippo. This is her little logo for her channel, but Hippo does live sessions as well. We'll talk about that more in the sketchbook. And then these are by Cece. All right, so let's hop right in. First page is blank. This one I didn't do like a self-portrait on the inside because that's not typically what I use this for. And the first page is also just always a little bit weird. So jumping right in, this is an art hang party. I think this was holiday photos from the art hang party community. I don't remember specifically who submitted what photo, but I know that these were submitted by members of the community. So really cute references. This was drawn with, looks like a brush pen and watercolor. Some very cute photos. Skip a page. All right. And then this was a different kind of winter holiday themed one. I don't remember who this was from. I know that we drew the same photo a couple times with different time limits, but I don't remember what art challenge this was, so off to a great start. This one I'm pretty sure was an art hang party where we drew just flowers. And that one was really fun. I don't remember what the time limits are on these, but this was drawn in watercolor and neocolor. It looks like I did the watercolor first and then layered the neocolor on top. Another flower drawing from that same session. And then we're going on to a different session altogether. This one, fairly certain, was one of Hippo's sessions, where we drew artists. I don't think that this was one of her reference photos because this was off of a brochure that I had for an exhibition, but the others are reference photos from her live. So this was a New Year's art hang party set drawing session. For this one I used water soluble graphite. I think a lot of these photos were in black and white, so that's why I didn't use any color. This was with a Few Day pen, same session, New Year's. I think I had just gotten this like brown ink and I was obsessed with it for a hot sec. Yeah, I used it here as well. I don't know why this man's neck is so long. No questions. I'm not taking any questions about that. Yeah, New Year's. Vintage New Year's photos, I think is what it was. I like how these came out a little bit better, even though their expressions are pretty silly. All right, next session. This was an art hang party where we drew photos from places where people live or lived. I'm not sure if they still live there, but these were, I want to say it was Mary Louise's pictures from Saudi Arabia. I really liked this session. This was with brush pen and marker. which I don't use markers that often. But I really liked this session, or I really liked this photo in particular because it had this really kind of ethereal look to it, kind of post-apocalyptic. I don't think I did a great job of capturing it in like, 3 minutes or something, but it was a very cool photo. And the reference photos in that session in general were very cool. This was with that brown ink, which when you wet it, it turns yellow. If you wet it a lot, it separates into yellow and purple, which is crazy. A little shoreline. All right, moving on. This is from Hippo's live session. Sometimes with Hippo's live sessions, I don't get to draw all the pictures because I am otherwise occupied. But I think I just drew this one that day, and this is marker with oil pastel on top, but the oil pastels that I was using were kind of cheapy, so they're very, very transparent. This is also a Hippo live session. I know this because I actually started writing down some of the notes here, which is great because my memory is terrible. But this is, I think it was like vintage items. I want to say it was like vintage items. Yeah. So globe, coffee. I was still using the Sailor Fude pen with that brown ink and watercolor. And I really actually like how some of these came out. This was a Monkey Mintaka drawing session. I can't remember if I did this while watching it live or if I did it as a replay, but the subject was greenhouses and the reference photos were really pretty. This is done in, it's not oil pastel, it's like a wax crayon, kind of very similar to Neocolors, but cheaper. I think they're by Stamping Up or something like that. I thrifted them a while back, and sometimes I just use them to kind of help me stay a little loose and not care so much. And I actually like how these turned out. I want to say this was from an art hang party. I don't know why there's only one. Either I couldn't join that session or maybe I did the rest of them on loose paper, but I'm pretty sure that was from like an art hang party. This one was an art hang party as well. I cannot remember the artist's name or what the session was called, but it was like Art Deco art or something like that. Very fun session. This is also an art hang party. I want to say that these were photos from Japan that Melissa took. She had taken a trip to Japan, and then we drew all of those photos in the art hang party. I kind of varied the materials here. I think it's mostly watercolor. This has a little bit of graphite. This one has some pencil, but yeah, mostly watercolor on these. I don't know why, but I really like how this one turned out. Just kind of very loose. This was an art hang party where the reference photos were of Mellie's jewelry making, either students or her own. It's kind of hard to tell because I didn't really draw them as jewelry as much, but that's what it was. I varied the materials a little bit here as well. This one had that Sailor Fude pen with the brown ink. This one had like a wax resist and watercolor. So just kind of playing around with materials for that one. Next up is one of my favorite types of challenges, which is the build a scene. This one was a build a cat cafe. So we see one image and we have to kind of add them all together to create a scene. So, you know, it's like one person sitting at a coffee thing. The reference photos that we used for this one were interesting because it was a mixture of cats and people. So we had to find kind of creative ways to incorporate all of them into this, like, you know, one scene. So yeah, really very silly. This was done with the brown Sailor Fude pen with the brown ink. If you're curious about the ink that I'm using here, it is a Noodler's ink in the color Rome is Burning, and I really like it. It's kind of a, I don't know, a little bit of a softer brown, and it separates into purple and yellow when you add water. It doesn't work so good as far as the separation goes on like this paper, but when you use it on watercolor paper, you can really see the color separation. This one here was a hippo live session. I want to say that this one was Storefronts. Different types of storefronts. I used that same pen and some watercolor. We were drawing these pretty quickly, so not a lot of detail here, but I do like the way that they came out. A little cafe, a little bookstore. The pictures that she picks are always just so lovely. They're really not done a lot of justice in a couple of minutes. I think this was also a hippo live session where I only was able to do one or did some on loose paper, but there's that one. This was an art hang party where we went to Chicago. I don't remember who the photos came from, but these drawings were done in watercolor. I really like how this one came out. I like how the bean came out specifically. This is when they dye the river green for St. Patrick's Day. This was an art hang party session where we drew Patrick Swayze in all of his iterations. I don't think that any of these look like Patrick Swayze, but I do feel like at least the like movement and musculature kind of got captured here, but not so great. The man was a beast. Rest in peace, Patrick Swayze. I wanted to finish the session, but I never got to it. This was a hippo live session where we drew chairs from different eras. I didn't do it quite as like a single line drawing, but I try to keep it really simple with a rainbow pencil, and I really like how this little spread turned out. These little owls were from a Monkey Mintaka session, I think. I drew these with that Mitsubishi like dual-sided pencil, the red and blue one, that was given to me by the lovely Olinda. I really like how these turned out. I kind of wish they weren't buried in this little sketchbook, but they came out pretty neat. This was from that same session, but just in watercolor. And then this is from a art hang party where we just drew bikes. I don't think it was 100 bikes, but it was a lot of bikes. I didn't draw every single one of them. I just made this like one spread, but I really like how this came out. I would like wear this as a t-shirt. I don't remember what session this is from. Not even a little bit. If I had to guess, I guess maybe some sort of like vegetable session because of these, but I'm not sure. but I'm pretty sure this is Hippo's live session that we did vegetables. And then this is a free draw frenzy, I think, where we drew people's like weird still lifes. There were some strange things included, but they were very fun to draw. Don't know when there's another free draw frenzy coming up. I'll have to look and see if anything's scheduled. This was a Hippo live session. This one was really fun because we drew a mystical figure from a description, and then we had like a reference photo. So I want to say this one was from like memory, basically, which is why the legs are not legging. And then this one was from like the actual reference photo. Same thing here. What are these legs? And then from the reference photo. Oh, take that right off. Sometimes the description, when it gets translated, becomes a little funny. But anyways, I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but from memory, this poor werewolf, and then from the reference photo, this derpy ass dragon, from memory, and then from a photo. And then I just did the one Medusa. I didn't draw the reference photo, but I thought that this one kind of looked a little bit like me, which I thought was funny. Moving on, this was a Bridgerton drawing session. I will just be real honest here. I do not watch Bridgerton. That is not my kind of show. But the reference photos were really fun. Those were provided by Art Hang Party. If you like Bridgerton, that'd be a great one to do it, because there was so much going on in those photos. Art Hang Party, I think this was a live session, a Hippo live session. I drew these as like single like line contour drawings, which is why they look so weird, but despite that, I think they're pretty good. Like, I feel like I captured some of the movement there. This is from a Dylan Sarah drawing session. I think most of these photos are of him. I was kind of trying to try out some of like the techniques that he was using, but it is hard. It is hard. I was using that brown Sailor Fude pen. I like how this one came out. This sunflower, I'm pretty sure is from a Monkey Mintaka drawing session. Yeah, we were drawing flowers, but then I ended up making them into like little cute characters. I really like how this one turned out. This was a really fun one. This was Art Hang Party Lord of the Rings edition, where we drew film stills from Lord of the Rings. I used Pit Artist pens and watercolor for these. I like it because the Pit Artist pens dry pretty much instantly and are waterproof, and they've got like a little brush tip, so it looks very kind of I don't know, you can vary the lines a lot, so it's pretty nice. My golem is kind of creepy. I like how this one came out. This was a Hippo live session where we were doing collage. I think there was supposed to be like a theme, but I joined the thing late and I couldn't stay, so I just got this one. But that was a really fun one. I always forget how much I love to do collage. This was I want to say this was a Hippo live session where I only got to do the one. I think I drew more, but on like separate sheets of paper or something, because I feel like I had drawn more windmills than this. And then this was a Monkey Mintaka session. I really like how this little silly drawing came out. I don't remember what the like theme was or anything, but the reference photos were very cute. This was a pretty fun one. This was a art hang party where we drew miniatures. So these are all drawn from like miniature figurines, hence the lack of faces on them. But yeah, it was just like very cute miniature scenery. It's hard to tell from those two, but you can tell a little bit more from this one and this one. This is like a tape measure that all the little people are lined up on. And then this like, I don't know, thing right here is a CD, which gave everything like a really pretty kind of glowing effect. So yeah, this one was a fun session. This was a Hippo live session where we drew animals. She had some really beautiful reference photos. This was done in brush pen and marker. The marker bled through, so I skipped pages, so this is a different session. So animal, another animal, and then the faces were from a different Hippo Life session where we were drawing self-portraits. Not our own self-portraits, but artist self-portraits. Or artist portraits. I can't remember if it was self-portraits. But anyways, I drew them on top of the like pages that the marker had bled through on, which kind of gave it an interesting effect. And these were done in oil pastel. I really need to put something in between them so they don't transfer. Next up is, what was this one? I think these were travel photos. Yeah, I think these were travel photos from Olinda. It will be more clear once I get a little further. But yeah, this was done in brush pen with watercolor. Oh yeah, for sure. I thought so, yeah. This was like a beach. I can't remember which beach. Corpus Christi maybe. And then this was a picture from our trip to Garner State Park, which if you haven't seen that video, I'll post it up here so you can watch it. But it was a really fun trip. So that was a photo that was included in the Art Hang Party references. Couple more pictures from her trip. I really like how these two came out. And then this is a different art hang party. This is Iceland. I did these with the Derwent Graphitint, a little paint palette that I haven't used in a while. I feel like the colors are very kind of fall coated, so I tend to not use them so much in the like summer, spring. But honestly, I feel like I need to change that because I really like the like effect that they have. Not so much on this paper, but like on watercolor paper, it's really pretty. So I need to use those a little bit more. Still pictures from Iceland. And I think that's Melly there with some like giant puppets. That was really cool. some of the like buildings and such there. Very pretty. And then this was a hippo live session where we drew mushrooms to prepare for Game of Shrooms. These were done in those kind of cheapy wax pastels or wax crayons, water-soluble wax crayons. But I really like how these came out, especially considering that they were done fairly quickly. I love drawing mushrooms, to be honest. And the reference photos that she provided were beautiful. These were from a Monkey Mintaka session, which I just was doodling on some post-it notes. There's honestly not really a whole lot to see here. And then this was a art hang party where we drew celebrity crushes. I was working that day, so I couldn't really stay for most of it, but I got these two down, which I don't remember whose crush this one was, but this one was mine, oddly enough, Desi Arnaz from I Love Lucy. This one is a Monkey Mintaka session where we were drawing like construction workers or something. I can never remember what the like theme is because I always end up just kind of popping in right in the middle of it somewhere. But the reference photos that she provided were pretty fun, and I actually like how these turned out despite the very, very dry marker. This was an art hang party where I think that there wasn't like a reference photo provided, that we just like, it was like using random colors. But I ended up doing like collage kind of. I don't know, it's kind of like a mixed collage. Some just like straight paper, then some paper that I kind of colored over with either pastel or very, very dry marker. But I do like how these came out. The colors that like were generated were pretty like interesting color palettes. This was part of a hippo live session where we drew blue things. I very much enjoyed that session. My drawings are kind of weird, but I like how they came out. It's a mix of marker and watercolor and oil pastel. These were drawn pretty quickly. I don't remember what the time limit was, but it was kind of fast. And then these are, this was an art hang party where we drew one of our community members, Mark. I can't remember what the exact location was, but it's, I think, somewhere in the UK. But the photo references were gorgeous. Some of them I combined. A lot of beautiful kind of beach and coastal scenes. Some lovely architecture and castles. Ended up switching from oil pastel over to graphite because the drawings or the images got a little bit more intricate as we kind of went along. I really like how this one turned out. This was a hippo live session. This was done with a brush pen and watercolor. I really like how these came out. It was a session where we drew just lighting, and they came out very pretty. Lighting from different eras, obviously. Lava lamp and a vintage lamp. And then this was, I know it was an art hang party, but I'm trying to remember. Oh, it was an art hang party where the theme was water. So these were provided by Melissa. I really like how these two turned out. I don't know. I think I used gouache for both of these, I'm pretty sure, because it looks very opaque. But yeah, this was a picture of, I think, Simon jumping into the water, some ducks, and then we did this one upside down. And I think I did this one in some very dry marker. One of the colors I selected was not the right color, so I just kind of colored over it, but still pretty fun. And I think that's it. Yeah. So yeah, that is my art challenge sketchbook. So like I said, I'll link all of the channels in the description below so that you can join some of these really cool drawing sessions. I think that these drawing sessions really help just kind of do practice, try out new materials, use materials that you don't use that often. And then also, because you're drawing live and the reference photos are moving so quickly, it really forces you to kind of give up the idea of like making a masterpiece. And I think that that's really, really helpful. You're also learning how to draw quickly, which helps with like urban sketching and things like that. So I cannot stress the benefit enough of participating in art challenges. If you have any questions about any of these drawings or art challenges or live sessions, feel free to hit me up in the comments, but definitely check out the links in the description. Until then, I will catch you guys on the next video.